Hey, what's going on, everybody out there? Hope everyone's doing well. Yeah, just make sure I got my microphone and everything tuned in. Yeah. So, Mike Idle here Tuesday night, Outlawed live. Welcome back. First time Ron or myself has been live hosting this show in 2 full weeks. Doesn't seem like a big deal. We both took last weekend off. I was helping out with the town fairs, how I've been explaining it to everybody. Our local town homecoming. It's a town fair. They get together. I was a big part of that for a day or two. I helped out with that. I wasn't available last Tuesday night. Ron Stone, battling some voice fatigue and some sickness at the time. So we took that show off, ran some highlights. So this is the first time that we're hanging out, getting you guys caught up back on the Outlawed Live Tuesday night extravaganza since, according to my notes right over here, July 29th. So, we take one night off and it feels like it's been an eternity out there. Now, big reason that it feels like it's been such a long time since we've been on this show and talked about things and broken things down and analyzed things would be because the Outlaw schedule is in absolute full gauntlet mode right now. Since our last podcast, since our last Outlawed Live podcast, we have had 14 total National Series point pulls make their way down the track. 14 pulls. That's essentially, that averages out to a pull a day since the last time we have been on the Outlawed Live podcast. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. We said this is that time of year where things are going to change in a hurry. You get on the app one day and you get on it by the end of the weekend, and point standings are going to be completely changed. We actually have a points champion that we can crown. So what we're going to do tonight, kind of the format of the show, what I'm going to try to do. Ron's up at the Iowa State Fair. He did the show today. Actually, it was kind of fun tuning in and listening to that show. Ron Stone, I believe the individual's name was Andy Peterson, and I think that he spent some time with the ECI group, as well as Jason Schultz were on the microphone for that show. So kind of interesting, kind of fun to hear Jason Schultz back on the microphone. Definitely not a role that he does as much anymore. But he says, I'm an enthusiastic announcer. The dude announces like he just absolutely shotgunned 5 Red Bulls and went out there. So happy for him. The Iowa State Fair is near and dear to him. So it was fun to hear them announcing today. But they're taking the evening off. Ron's resting those vocal cords up. So I'm going to be breaking you down tonight, Outlawed Live. And here's kind of my goal or my agenda: 14 pulls. And I want to give each of them a little bit of credit. So what I'm going to try to do, we're going to go out to fullpull.live, and I'm going to just slap up a run or two from each of those. We'll kind of break down. We'll talk about some of the winners. I also want to talk about the Holganix Midwest Summer Sweep. We're going to share the screen on that. We're going to check in on our points standings from that. We'll talk about someone who's already won a national points championship on the season this year. We'll do a points breakdown. Then, of course, we've got When the Smoke Clears. We'll talk about our featured puller on the social media world of things this week. And then we'll talk about what we've got going on. Full-fledged gauntlet week. Of course, it's the Iowa State Fair. Iowa State Fair pulled today at noon. They're going to pull tomorrow at noon, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's Thunder by the River out there in Wisner, Nebraska. I'll be at each of those shows. I wasn't able to go to the Iowa State Fair today. I did have to go into work today. First time back to work since we let out for school last year. For those of you who don't know, most of you do know I'm a school teacher. Had to go in and do some in-service today, but they let me off the hook for the next 4 days. They get it, so we'll go pulling after that. Let's check in on some comments. Then we'll go over to the Holganix Midwest Summer Sweep. Then we'll get you caught up. All of 14 pulls. 14 pulls since the last time we've hung out, guys. So over here, Case Conover watching from Lytle, Texas. Faithful fan like always. Thank you much. Thanks for watching. Hope you're having a great time. Hope you're checking out some of these pulls on fullpull.live. Mark Ham says, evening, sir. Mark, hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Thanks for commenting. Took me forever to understand your Facebook comment on that photo that I posted up, my new profile picture. And then I'm stupid, and I finally realized you were making a bingo joke, so I got it now. So you're the man. Keep doing what you do, mister. Taking great photos. Robert Miner says, sounds good for the breakdown. Absolutely. That's my goal for the night. Chris Pierce, how we doing? Evening. Thanks for watching. I saw the friend request on Facebook. I'll get out there and make that official. Chuck Hobbs and the Irish polling team. Howdy, howdy. Let's get rowdy. Let me know how your season's going. Hope everything's going well. Donnie Jackson, good evening, sir. Thank you. Thank you for commenting. Randy Barker says he'd like to be there. Yeah, big week of pulling. Iowa State Fair, Wisner, Nebraska. Robert Meyer checking in from Niobrara, Nebraska. Thank you for watching as always. Tina and Eric Berger checking in from Wilbur, Nebraska. Faithful fans always watching. Cole Hennings checking in from Des Moines, Iowa. How are things shaping up in Des Moines? What am I driving up to tomorrow? I'm leaving here like 6 o'clock in the morning, headed up to Des Moines. Are we getting rain? Are we good? Let me know. Mark Wills watching from Carrollton, Mo. Good to see you. Dustin Wooten from McLouth, Kansas. I look forward to talking about that poll. That one, it was fun talking to some of the guys. I didn't go to that one. I was in Moville, Iowa. But from everything I've heard, boy, oh boy, that was a home run event. The Outlaws were beyond happy with their experience there. It sounds like the fans were one of the biggest crowds we've ever had. I went back, I rewatched the live stream. Phenomenal event. We are very much looking forward to where McLouth is going to be heading in the future. So glad to see you watching from McLouth. Yep, Mark Jaham keeping me on my toes. Cole Henning says it's a blast. No doubt about it. So one thing I've done a poor job of this year as an announcer, as a media liaison for the Outlaws, is paying enough attention and disseminating the information of the Holganix Midwest Summer Sweep. Of course, Holganix, one of our title sponsors out there, phenomenal partnership, phenomenal product. And what they do, they kind of run a game within a game. Most of you fans are aware of this, but the Holganix Midwest Summer Sweep, kind of a secondary points series where they've pre-selected a number of events out there, and then they have like kind of a bonus cash point system that they pay out. So let's go ahead and share our screen. And let's take a live look in on the Holganix Midwest sweep standings. So as we could take a look at this right over here. So yeah, there you guys can see it right there. So a breakdown on the Holganix Midwest sweep. So first class out here, and this class right here is kind of the one that inspired me, made me want to look at it. I heard Ron talking about this up at the Iowa State Fair today. So you can see that these guys are hooking for additional points at Ravenna, Donaldson, Warrensburg, Wayne, Nebraska, Mercer, Missouri, the Iowa State Fair, Wisner, and Unionville. So it looks like starting off with the super modified two-wheel drive trucks there up at the top, kind of the cornerstone class or one of the cornerstone classes for the Outlaws. Really kind of fun story shaking up right here. Now this I can see it does not include today's points. Well, actually, it won't. So when we have a 2-session poll like the Iowa State Fair, what they will actually do, they'll take your average finish. So like you take a Timmy Fitzsimmons, and I think he might have won today. I think he grabbed his first win on the year. Let's pull it up. Outlaw app. If you don't have the Outlaw app, be sure and grab that. Yeah, Tim Fitzsimmons right over there just down the road. For those of you who don't know where I'm from, just outside of Macon, Missouri. So Tim Fitzsimmons, one of those closest to home pullers for me, grabs his first win today up there at the Iowa State Fair. Congratulations, Mr. Fitzsimmons. So on the Holganix Midwest Summer Sweep 2-session events, they'll actually take the average. So Timmy grabs a first place finish today. If he gets a third place finish tomorrow, they'll log him in there with second place points for the weekend. So that's what they'll do on those for just the Holganix sweep. But you can see Tim sitting number 1 in points right now in the Holganix Midwest Summer Sweep. Now, that's a fun and developing story because Tim is actually sitting 3rd in overall points right now. Talked to Tim back at Sac City. We're actually sitting in Sac City watching it get rained out. He said, I'm on a mission this year. I want to get the truck to Louisville. That's my goal. I want to make it happen. So you grab a Holganix Midwest Summer Sweep points title, that's got to be something going for it. So you can see Tim Fitzsimmons in the country heat sitting number 1 in the Holganix Midwest Summer Sweep with basically after this week, only 1 event to go. And then Donald Nelson's got the next 2 spots right there. Now that's going to be also how they're going to shake out just in a different order. Donald Nelson sitting number 1 and 2 with the Little Whip and Whip It in national points. And then Tim Fitzsimmons sitting number 3 in points. National style out there, but Fitzsimmons got the number 1 spot right now in the Holganix. As we slide down, we can go to our big modified tractors, and you can see similar schedule: Ravenna, Donaldson, Rock Valley, Warrensburg, Wayne, and then they're going to round out their season at Wisner and Unionville. So there'll be a lot of changes being made this weekend in Wisner. And we can see right now the Bullbuster currently sitting number one. So Donald Nelson sitting number one in Holganix Midwest Summer Sweep Points. Hopefully you guys can see that all. Yeah, I'll zoom in on it just a little bit there. So you see right there, Donald Nelson with his new machine, the Bullbuster, sitting number one in Holganix points. But this is what makes it fun, because this is the game within the game. That Bullbuster actually sitting third in national points. Cotton Candy sitting number two, Holganix Midwest Sweep Points, sitting number two in national points. So kind of arguably the best place to make a move right now. And then sitting number three in Holganix Midwest Sweep Points out here, Case and Petch and the Thermal Thunder. Case and Petch, Thermal Thunder currently sitting number one in national points. I'll slide back over here and kind of take a look at some comments, because I want to talk about Case and Petch right now. I love banquet season. I love the Outlaw Awards that they give out. I'm a big sports guy, big sports background. So I think a lot about the competition aspect of things. You start thinking about the awards and you start thinking of Puller of the Year, the award, which is essentially the MVP all the way across. And I would like to think that right now, and I've said this a couple of times this season, that Case and Petch at 20 years old, parking a turban in the number one spot, I'd have to contact someone and ask them, when was the last time a twin turban won a national points championship for any of the three major associations? He has ridden that thing consistently in that number one spot all year. I think Kaysen right now is sitting in a very good position to make a claim for Puller of the Year. I think there's a couple other strong ones for Puller of the Year. I think Jeremy Paulson is creating a great narrative for Puller of the Year. I think Keith Hammonds has a really good narrative for Puller of the Year, though he did not walk away with a win today. Actually walked away with his worst finish on the year and one of his worst career finishes. So Keith is human, so that's kind of nice to know that we are battling a mortal in that class. But Kaysen having a really nice season. Jeremy Paulson, let's talk about him for a second too, in the Hawkeye Hooker. I'm kind of been mulling over this idea. I want to talk to some of the higher ups about it. In the NFL and in the MLB, they have an award that they give out called the Comeback Player of the Year award, which goes to a player that sustained an injury and then had a good season the next year. I think if we ever adapted something like that in the world of pulling, if we had a comeback puller, someone who had sustained some significant damage to a vehicle the year before and came back strong, Jeremy Paulson, the guy's got 5 consecutive wins and sitting number one in points right now in the light super stock ag division after totaling his tractor a season ago. So some interesting narratives to think about right there as we start getting down to the nitty gritty, the nuts and bolts of the season here. Back to Holganix Midwest Summer Sweep Points. Of course, we're going down there, just talk about him. Keith Hammond's bipolar machine sitting number one, Tater Wagon 2 sitting number 2, and Chain Stretcher, Toby Vanderpool, sitting number 3. That's going to be very, very close, if not identical to their national standings right now. Yeah, it's identical to it. Absolutely spot on, identical. Keith with a very strong season that he's having so far this year. So he kind of just sitting out there doing his thing. Pro Stock Tractors, as we slide down in the Holganix Midwest Summer Sweep Points. You've got Cody Yarrick and Gone sitting number 1, Caden Weger and the Kids Inheritance sitting number 2, and then Greg Jager and the Wampus Cat sitting number 3. Let's compare those to where those guys are at in the 10,000-pound pro stocks out there. Lacey Weger must be nice, sitting number 1 in pro stock in national points. So he's all the way down here. You can see him number 4 in Holganix points, but number 1 in national points. Cody Yark sitting number 2 in national points, while he sits number 1 in Holganix points. And then Caden Weger sitting number 3 in national points, where he sits number 2 in Holganix. So kind of the fun story right there, Greg Jager and the Wampus Cat right there in a position to jump up and shake things up a little bit. Super Farm is going to be a super tight race, as they always are. Big season for Alan Andrews. He's another name I think you could very easily throw out this year for Puller of the Year. He has had a very strong season. I want to say 4 to 6 wins on the year, somewhere in that ballpark. If you're watching and let me know. If Alan's watching, he keeps track of that stuff. He always lets me know. But Alan In national points, Alan Andrews, Dakota Deer, sitting number 1 in national points. He's got a 10-point lead over Chad Weisenkamp in the Someday Machine. You can see that those are transversed in the Holganix points, where Weisenkamp sitting number 1, and then you've got Alan Andrews sitting number 2. Now, I love this. We've got the endangered species, the Halinga family, with their Alice Chalmers D21 sitting up there at 3rd place in Holganix points, whereas 3rd place in national points is going to be the Bruley Buck of Chad Andrews sitting in the number 4 spot. Chad Andrews having a very quiet, very consistent, sneaky good season. Doesn't have the wins that his dad does, but he almost never finishes outside of the top 4. Whereas you take a tractor like the endangered species, that's one of those X Factor ones that wins at the drop of a hat, with a couple of wins on the season. So fun that we're seeing red, green, orange, 1, 2, and 3 in the super farms right here on the Holganix side. Light limited pro stocks. These I think are going to be quite a bit different than what we're going to see on the National Point Series. We've got the Young Buck out of, I think that's out of state. Mitch Larson out of Burl, South Dakota, sitting number 1. Now, this is where they grabbed points at Ravenna, which included a rainout, and their average Ottawa, which was a rainout, Rock Valley, and then Wayne, as well as West Point. Now, he won at Wayne, so that's going to be a big deal, and you can see right up there that 28 points. So Young Buck is kind of our major shaker right now, a major mover. He's sitting number 9 in national points, but number 1 in your Holganix point. Inches Matter Machine sitting number 2 in both, and Randall Gira in the underrated 3 or the underrated 2 sitting 2nd in both. Brady Gosser all the way down to 4th for the Holganix points, sitting number 1. Big back and forth battle this past weekend between him and Mike Masonbrink as they've kind of swapped positions a little bit. As we continue to check these out down here, Holganix points, limited pro stocks, Justin and Brian Deck sitting number 1, Jamie Yonke sitting number 2, and then Gary Barrett sitting number 3. Gonna be similar. The Yonke tractor has not been where it wants to be over the past week or two, but I think it's logged enough points early in the season that we're still going to see it competitive. Yeah, absolutely. And that's your 1, 2, and 3. They're carbon copy identical for Holganix Midwest points as well as national points. So you got to tip your cap to what the Yonke family's doing. They're weathering the storm right now. You know, they're going through one of those streaks where the tractor is not performing the way they want it to, but you know you're good when those droughts come along and you're still in the mix of things. In the light super stock, Gary Whipp and the Deer Fever sitting number 1, Alan Ulmer and Never Enough sitting number 2, and Frank Bullboy and Green Lightning sitting number 3. We'll take a look at the national standings. Alan Ulmer is actually going to be sitting number 1 in the national standings, Frank Bullboy 2, and Gary Whipp 3. We're seeing this narrative a lot. The top 3 are the same in both. They're just kind of shuffled a little bit. Light super stock ag. Now, we kind of like to see this. Ryan Boyson, always the bridesmaid, never the bride out there. At least that's how it's been recently. He's been in that number 2 spot to the Hawkeye Hooker left and right all over the past 2 weeks right here. But sitting number 1 in the Holganix points, followed by Jeremy Paulson in number 2, and then Terry Mammon in that cockshut number 3. So that's intriguing. Keep in mind, that is a light limited super stock. Hawkeye Hooker has taken over the number 1 points position. Let's talk about that one too, as I'll slide back over here to my main screen. The Hawkeye Hooker, 5 straight wins. 5 straight wins dating back to Gibbon. So looking down my sheet here, Hawkeye Hooker grabbed a win in Gibbon. He grabbed a win in Moville. He grabbed a win in Weeping Water. He grabbed a win in West Point. And we would go back one more before that, or one more somewhere else in there as well. Palmer grabbed a win in Palmer. Okay, so we go Palmer, West Point, Weeping Water, Moville, Gibbon. 5 straight wins for Jeremy Paulson and the Hawkeye Hooker, sitting number 1. Now, that class has been nothing shy of nearly dominated by Corey Schluter and the Barn Burner tractor over the past couple of years. Big lead to start the season. Jeremy Paulson wasn't out to start the season, but the exact moment that Jeremy Paulson gets really, really hot, really dials his tractor in, Corey Schluter and the Barn Burner sustained some major damage. So we actually saw them I think there was something with the water injection at Weeping Water, that the water injection did not make its way to the cylinder. We actually saw water blow out all over the track, and then we saw oil out of the bottom of the tractor. Now, they did what they do. They burned the midnight oil. They were on Facebook the other day, and they said that they're going to be ready, as I said, for the Iowa State Fair for Wisner, but they're going to be right back out. So that one's not done yet. Barn Burner sitting just 10 points behind Hawkeye Hooker in the national points standings. We'll take another moment, too, and get caught up on some comments right here while we continue to break these points down. Mark Hubert says he is tuning in from Salix, Iowa. Any unexpected big names coming to Wisner? Great question, my friend. I can say my good buddy from the next town over, Mr. Cody Lewis, is going to be coming out with a fired-up four-wheel drive truck. That was one of my favorite trucks growing up as a kid. Going to be interesting to see who he lets do the driving. I know that they did pull with us, the Outlaws. They typically pull a different association, but they pulled with us at the Outlaws down in Washington, Missouri. And he let Gage and Cruz do the driving, his two oldest sons out there. But he did tell me that they're coming to Wisner for the second time in a row in 2 years. Be interesting to see if he drives or if some of his sons drive. We'll go ahead and check out Wisner. We'll look at the app and see if anything jumps off the page to us. But yeah, that's a cornerstone pull, so we want to know that. So we'll see if there's anything interesting in there. Looks like we've already got 15 super modified two-wheel drive trucks. A lot of the Texas guys are going to come up. Puller out of New Mexico is going to come up. The Kielmeyers are going to be here again. The Flemings are going to come back out again. They had a good time at Rock Valley, so that's interesting to see. We'll go over to the light limited mods. 8 of them, kind of the usual players, usual suspects. Go to the light super stocks. No crazy names coming out there. We'll go over to Friday night for Wisner. And what do we want to look at here? Yeah, we'll go to the four-wheel drives. That's one of my favorite classes. Got a puller out of North Dakota. John Yancer in the Boss. So that's not one that I'm terribly familiar with. Other than that, it's several that we do see pretty often. The modifieds, those are always fun to take a look in at. Wayne Bunnage is going to come out and play with us again. Good to see him from Illinois. So there's some, that's a big pull. It attracts a lot. Good question out there. And Cole Henning says, no rain tomorrow up there in Des Moines. High is 82. Absolutely perfect. Katie Cloud Paulson says, hey, Mike, what's going on? Kirk Paulson sustained some major damage to his tractor, too, but another one, much like we were talking about Corey Schluter, burning the midnight oil. He's going to be back ready to rock and roll, if not tomorrow night, then Thursday night. So good to see them out there. Doug Voth checking in. Good to see you, Doug. Would love to hear an update on your tractor. Want to see that one back out on the circuit again. So thanks for saying hi. And Case Conover ready for Lufkin. Yeah, I've been talking about that one a lot. That one's going to be fun. I'll be live streaming that one from home for sure. So back over here to the Holganix points. Light Pro stocks. The Gremlins have been mean to them this year. Rugrat Rampage, Constant Chaos, Just Another Buck. There you can take a look at those. I think pretty much every tractor in that class is hurt right now. So there's your Holganix Midwest summer sweep. We'll go ahead and end that screen right now. So, yeah, Holganix Midwest Summer Sweep. Let's take a look on some national point standings out there and figure out who we haven't talked about yet at this point. Super modified two-wheel drive trucks, we've discussed them. The four-wheel drives, my favorite class. Let's talk about what's going on with those out there. And it's going Thornton. 1, 2, 3 with that trifecta. Thumper currently sitting number 1 in points. Ramrod number 2. Backdraft number 3. I think it would be a fun story to watch the Ramrod Dodge walk away with the win this year for nothing else other than the fact that we saw the Backdraft win national points last year. We saw Thumper win national points 2 years ago. Let's make it a trifecta. Let's make it a clean sweep. If they are going to win, you might as well grab one for everybody and go Ford, Chevy, Dodge in that order. Ritter Boys sitting number 4 with the Stroker Ace, and then the Browns with the high-class Grass number 5 right now. A lot of pulling left in that class. 3.0 diesel trucks, limited pro stock diesel trucks. Skylar Leaper sitting number 1. Jason Wayman, Megatron sitting number 2. Those guys are the heavy hitters. They battle it out in both associations that they pull with. I think they're sitting 1 almost all the time. So Skylar Leeper looking to make it 2 in a row. I believe he was our points champion last year. Naturally aspirated 2-wheel drive trucks. Very similar story there too. Luke Renner sitting number 1 right now. Hughes or Wiffles winning distance on Friday night in West Point. Matt Phelps sitting 3. Sitting 2. David James sitting 3. Those have been your 3 on the top for each of the past 2 to 3 seasons. So Luke Renner looking to stave off the competition. I tell you what, his truck just sounds different right now. He does have the running wild, running well. We talked about the Pro Stock 4-wheel drives. Let's talk about the 3200 Super Fields. Current points and final points standings. Wrapped up their season in Palmer, Nebraska on Saturday night. That's it. They're in the books. Tie a bow on it. We have one done, which is a crazy feeling. It's a very bittersweet feeling, but very excited for David Peterson, like father, like son, grabbing his first ever career points championship with the Outlaws in the 3200 Super Field, 466, 8,500 pound class out there. We'd seen Gary Kavanaugh win 4 in a row. Of course, thoughts and prayers with Gary Kavanaugh. Gary Kavanaugh battling some health issues right now. And I talked to David, and David straight up said, he goes, that's not how I wanted to win. He had the 2 final hooks basically uncontested against the number 2 puller. I do think, however, he ended up the season with 5 or 6 victories. So he earned it, but he would have liked to have gone head to head. But Gary Kavanaugh and family, if you're watching, the whole Outlaw family is thinking about you, pulling for you. And we want to see you back up on top in 2026, back in the mix of things. And David Peterson, congratulations, buddy. Super nice guy. Thank you for being on When the Smoke Clears. And we wish you the best of luck. And, hey, come on out and try to defend that one in 26. We'd love to see that as well. But a good season, another one. The 3200s don't get the name recognition that the big mods and the 2-wheelers do. But you might need to throw David Peterson's name in the hat for consideration for a Puller of the Year award. 5 or 6 victories, first time pulling for points, grabs the points championship. Why not? We'll let some comments out here, and then we'll continue on with our plan. Mark Ham says, Moville, phenomenal small town pull, and says, I did a great job. Hey, I appreciate that. Okay, I got to check my notes because I'm losing track at this point. Yes, Moville was great. Moville was a great show. So if you want to go back, if you've got some time this week, or you're having a pre-pull party with your buddies and you want to show a pull leading up to Wisner or something like that, McLouth, Kansas was phenomenal. West Point, Nebraska was phenomenal. But Moville, Iowa, very, very good pull. Got to see some different iron, fast-paced show. We actually had Mark Ulmer came and guest announced with me for a class up there. Ton of fun getting inside a puller's head, kind of seeing the track from his perception. The legend himself, one of the first people I ever met with the Outlaws. He just straight up told me, he says, Mike, I'm bored. I'm not pulling right now. Everything's broke. Can I come up in the announcer's booth? Well, absolutely, my buddy. So we did a class together up there. But yeah, Moville was a lot of fun. Haug's going to Wisner. That wouldn't surprise me. I didn't see them on the app. They've pulled with us even a little bit more this season, and I have enjoyed them doing what they're doing. Dale Bartles, did I enjoy West Point? West Point 100% is one of my favorite pulls to do on the year. You kind of get your season schedule and you go through your bread and butter shows, your day in, day out shows. And then you have your pulls that you put a highlighter at. West Point has something special on their hands. West Point is, you got your 3 heavy hitters that I see, because I don't make it down to Texas, I'm teaching and whatnot. But Rock Valley, Wisner, and then Wayne, I think are your kind of trifecta cornerstone pulls. But West Point is like the one just on the outside of that. West Point is really good. 120 hooks, or 110. I think we had 110 vehicles. It took us 3 hours and 15 minutes. The pace is incredible. The competition's incredible. Yeah, West Point is a great show. Great crowd, enthusiastic crowd. and hit some more of these, and we'll get back to our standings over here. Doug Votes says an update on the Griffin Growl. We were working on it for Wisner, but it's not looking good. I did a leak down, lots of exhaust valves, and one sleeve not sealing. Yep. So fighting the gremlins, burning the midnight oil. Best of luck, my friend. You're not one that ever gives up on it, so can't wait to see that one back out moving. Chris Kilbarger. That one, Chris Kilberger saying hi as well. Palmer, Dale Bartle says, explain Palmer. We'll talk about Palmer. Yep, we'll go there. Very, very, very interesting venue. It feels like the Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. Now, I got to see a lot of iron at Palmer that I never get to see. They call it Thunder in the Corn. You drive in through a dude's driveway. You're coming down the highway. You're outside of a town. The GPS takes you to like a guy's house. And you're like, this can't be right. Like, what are we doing here? And you pull in, and yeah, no doubt about it. Huge, beautiful, fully restored barn back there, canopies, tents, rodeo arena, and then a pulling track in the middle of a field with like trucks backed up to the track and tents and like one little thing of bleachers. It's like a dude wanted to have a party and was like, I'm going to have a tractor pull at my own personal party. So yeah, we had a rain delay out there. Got to work with a DJ that I'd never worked with before. So a wholly unique venue. But hey, man, we went outlaw truck and tractor pulling, battled the rain, but we got through it, got the whole show in. And yeah, we had a great time. I got to hang out with the NSPA Heartland group out there, and I have not done a show with them yet. We ran 3 national classes, then we ran the NSPA Heartland group guys. And, we had an hour rain delay in between, but you know what? It was fine. We scrambled like heck to get out of there, so we didn't get stuck. We went to local co-op afterwards, and life was golden. So Palmer, Nebraska, unique set, free beer, donation only. I don't even know if I don't know. I don't like it, just free beer, donation. That's what the sign said. So, hey man, you like free beer and tractor pulling, go check out Palmer, Nebraska. You're going to see some NSPA stuff. You're going to see some national level stuff. It was a good show. Checking out the national point standings again. Light pro stocks. Alan Shellham sitting number 1 right now. John Narragon number 2. Justin Grimes number 3. And that the Gremlins have bit that class hard. Just I think a lot of them might be broke. I think all 3 of them might be broke right now. I haven't seen them out in a while. Diesel super stocks eerily similar. The diesel super stocks have battled the Gremlins and the inconsistency and the over horsepower indulgence this year. David Anderson, by just never giving up, by being there at every single pull, sitting with a big points lead right now on the roughshod. Interestingly enough, that tractor seemed like it was running better early than it is now as he continues to battle that clutch linkage a little bit out there. John Ewalt in the midlife crisis, consistency finisher sitting number 2. And Scott Frankie in the chance encounter sitting number 3. Scott Frankie, come pull us more. You're a nice guy. You're a cool dude. Your tractor is hard running. I really enjoy it. And Eugene Williams, pure pleasure. I'd like to see those tractors out all the time. Talked to him at Rock Valley. I talked to him again. I don't remember where. There's another pull not long after that. I think it was Britt, Iowa. Heavy hitters, hard runners, cool dudes. If you're watching, this is my formal invitation. Come to every outlaw pull. You guys bring a good product out there. I like watching your tractors. Tyler Beckman sitting in the middle in the number 4 spot right now. Light limited pro stocks, we talked about those. Brady Gossler taking over the number 1 spot. Limited pros, light supers, light super ags, big pros, talk about all those. Super farms, light limited mods, modifieds, and let's go down to the pro stock semis. Blue collar, Connor Fry, sitting number 1. Good for him. It's another one that maybe you could look at as your comeback puller of the year award right there. Start off the season kind of broke. The vehicle didn't want to go down the track. We all kind of thought, this is a spare parts machine. Now it's sitting number 1 in points. What a way to go. Joe Bear. Joe Bear is a wheel man. He's a driving son of a gun. Sitting number 2. Richard Darr with the 1 bad binder. Sitting number 3. And no one saw this coming. Brent Roberts, defending points champ, black on track, sitting towards the bottom right now. Battled breakage this year. But that's a guy with a great attitude. That's a competitor. That's a baller. And he's also worried about promoting his pull in Bedford later on in the year. So, kind of is what it is. But once he gets that thing rocking and rolling, it'll be rocking and rolling. So what have we missed? we're up to speed on Holganix Midwest Summer Sweep points. We're up to speed on national points. And if I went too fast, or you want me to break one of those down, or you have a question, please comment with that. If you're like, oh, hey, who was sitting number 5 or 6 and something, or Mike, go back and hit this again. By all means, please comment. We can break those down. I'm trying to cram a lot of developments over the past 2 weeks in. So what have we missed? Let's take a look at some of these pulls. So going all the way back here, we'll just go to it by the dates here. So the last pull that you folks would have had a chance to have watched after our last podcast would have been Scribner, Nebraska, July 31st. You didn't miss anything. It rained out. I got halfway there, 10 o'clock in the morning, got a phone call, got rained out of the blue. I had no idea there was even rain in the forecast. They called me up. They said, pulls rained out. I turned around, went all the way back home because it's like a free day at that point. Spent some time hanging out with my boys and my wife, and then hit it whole hog the next day and drove all the way out to Gibbon, Nebraska. Now, Gibbon, way out there in the Nebraska sand hills out there in central Nebraska, the 55th year they've had that pull. It's a good pull, but their numbers were light this year. Some of that was the classes they had battled some breakage, but the weather was phenomenal. Let's see if we can take a look at one or two passes from Gibbon. I'll try to share my screen again for you folks, and we'll just break down a couple of runs from all these pulls that we see out here. Like I said, there's like 14 of them that we've missed. So let's look at one or two from each spot and see what we can see. So let's check out Gibbon, Nebraska.
I think he's going to come up well short, however, of the Dakota Deer. We'll get you his numbers in just a moment.
All right. Well, I just hit to a random spot right here. Looks like we find ourselves in towards the back end of the Super Farm class right here. Jared Johansson, and you can just hear me announcing Jason Alan Andrews out there. You can see picture perfect day for pulling.
All right. Looks like it's going to be 330.13. 330.13 for Jared Johansson. So you can see Alan Andrews at 358.19 laid down an absolute mega pass that they're going to have to come after this evening. Case IH challenges and more. Built by farmers. Case IH.
You can hear it in my voice. I was battling a cold at that point, too. Ron and I were both about down at this point. I was coming off a major chest cold right here. This is one of those pulls. I actually have my wife up there.
Back over here on the light limit pro stock side. Current points leader. This man's been on an absolute tear this year. Out of Gretna, Nebraska, Mike Masonbrink aboard the tractor he calls Inches Matter. Has a 3-point lead in the point standings. Just a little over halfway through the point standings so far this year. Got to get up there past 345.41. Mike Masonbrink, Inches Matter.
Ooh, backing up the flagman. Good run.
Never got on the brake the entire run right down the boulevard, and you can see the flagman backpedaling. Those are indicators of a picture-perfect pass. That was about 355.98. Good enough for the number one spot by just over 10 feet right there. Mike Masonbrink, points leader, takes over the number one position. Big thank you to Hartz Diesel.
Okay, so we grabbed a little bit of the vibe right there. That was a quick show. We relied on numbers. It's way out there. We were up against some other pulls that were going on that night. But you can see kind of a look in right there. The weather was phenomenal. The track was incredible. And two really good passes right there. And, that's about the point Mike Masonbrink really starting to dial in on that lead for this season. This was only 2 weeks ago, but a lot has changed between here, there, and everywhere else. Now, going on at the exact same time, this would have been August 1st. Ron was down in Mercer, Missouri, checking out his show down there. So let's backtrack here a little bit and let's go get a vibe on what we had going on in Mercer at that time. Now, this is one I've already watched because came back home, and I like to come back home and rewatch any of them that I miss out there. So we'll see if we can find Mercer, Missouri, single track show. nice little hidden gem that they have out there. So let's take a look at Mercer.
For high-end valve springs and valve train components. That's exactly why they're that expensive.
Slide right in here. Phil Chrysler, Show Me Chevy. Now, at this point, Phil Chrysler was coming off of a win in Wayne, Nebraska just a week before. So they'd kind of gotten ahead of Keith Hammonds at this point right here. So Phil Chrysler was looking to go
time this guy hooked to the pull-up
in just as many weeks.
Was last Friday night.
We'll take a look and see what he does. You can hear Ron talking about it right now.
The season. Brand new engine in the truck. Coming out of Design Performance down in the Buffalo, Missouri, close to Buffalo. Design Performance. Get those towns mixed up down there. Chevrolet pickup. The Chrysler family been around truck pulling in the state of Missouri for a long time. Philip Chrysler out of Lincoln, Missouri, the Show Me Chevy.
Love Mercer's track. It's just a tucked-in hidden gem, old school with the guardrails, single lane track. Now, they were wet that day, so I don't think that it was as tight as they wanted. A good run right there for Phil Chrysler.
Well, they are stacking them in at that 309 mark, 309.02. So we got one at 309, we got one at 309.02, 309.24, and 309.62. All these measurements out here.
So 309.02, the distance for Phil Chrysler. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. I'm going to show you guys about 2 runs for each of these. 14 pulls, and I do want you to get a taste for each of them because it's been so long since it's been on here. I'm going to jump ahead to the super modified two-wheel drive trucks because that was a brand new class at Mercer this year. So let's go to the back half here and kind of see what we can see from some of these two-wheelers.
Separating.
See if we can find Zajac. I think he went out there and laid down a big run.
Than an inch. 1564, so that's less. One might get past him. Got some tire opening.
Skip through some of our preparation here and see if we can find a two-wheeler. You guys are going to get seasick with me trying to jump around like this.
The Farmall, Alaska didn't enter. First puller, Cole Zych. Texas Gunsmoke.
Here we go. This is a good run if I remember right. I think this is the winning run, actually. All the way from Columbus, Texas, going up there to north central Missouri. Love that T-bucket. Love the way he is just never afraid to stand that thing skyward. Yeah, you can see the cameraman swinging at the distance.
Somebody say yeehaw out there, Mercer, Missouri.
Yeehaw, Ron. Yeah, so awesome pass right there. That went on to win it. Good run right there. First time that they pulled in Mercer, Missouri. So that would have brought you guys up to speed at that point August 1st. And we're what? August 12th. So we still have a lot of pulling to catch up on. Very next day, so this was Friday night, very next day, McLouth, Kansas, and Moville, Iowa on Saturday night. We bragged. That was a big night for the Outlaws. You've heard us brag on both those pulls. Let's give you a taste of each of those really quickly here. But no, excellent shows at both those. McLouth, Kansas. They did bring the steam engine out, which I just absolutely love. Love steam traction engines. So you can see right here, brought the steam engine out for the national anthem. It makes my heart happy. But no, let's who do we want to take a look at here? See a big mod. We see Kaysen. I've been bragging on Kaysen. Let's show Kaysen out here. Kyle walking down the track, trying not to smile because he's proud of his boy, but he's got to have his boss hat on right now. But no, in all seriousness, Kaysen's doing such an awesome job on the season this year. I think he ended up getting second at this pull. And that's the thing. When he doesn't win, he still finds himself in those top threes consistently on the season. Right on the left brake, brought it back around. Nice job.
Oh, he's going to be right in there, real close to that leader mark.
And you guys can just see an absolutely packed crowd back there.
So one slight correction where he grabbed the left brake just a little bit to turn it back to the center of the track when it was headed to the right.
She's an absolute fan favorite as well. So again, if you're just tuning in, I'm trying to get you guys caught up, getting you a flavor of everything you've missed over the past 2 weeks. This is McLouth, Kansas.
Yes, we've got a new leader, 346.3. Sydney Chance, colorblind out of Buckner, Missouri.
Smooth. Never got on the brake. Love that. Look how good that was. Drove it off the left-hand side. Really nice run for the iconic pink helmet up there in the cockpit.
298.4
Let me know what you guys
for
think.
Sydney Chance.
Of course, you can watch all
and the
this
colorblind John Deere out of Buckner, Missouri.
Go out there, subscribe.
She'll move into the number 4 spot over there.
Good run right there for
stock.
both Kaysen and Sydney, both some of our younger drivers out there. Now, at this same time, I was up in Moville, Iowa, having an absolute ball. Great pull. I think we had about 75 vehicles pull at that one. So let's take a live look in here. Not a live look in, but you guys know what I mean. So this is the same night as McLouth. This was August 2nd. What do we want to look at here? Super Farms. We've seen some Super Farms earlier. Yeah, let's do some light supers. There was one light super in here that was insanely good. I think it's
found all around the world. Still incredible.
Yeah, so if this is the light super I'm thinking of, this guy, man, I don't remember this guy's name. He doesn't typically pull this. His tractor just came back out of Blackburn's shop. And, I know he's not a heavy hitter outlaw puller, but this run is almost just too good not to show. All right,
speaking of farm balls,
check this one out.
Farm ball, a little shout out right there on our sponsor reads. We're going to go over here to a beautiful farm ball. Chris Mikes out of Cortland, Nebraska, doesn't always pull with us, doesn't run a whole circuit with us, but when he does, we are happy to see him and glad to have him. Tough running.
Yeah, Dustin Wooten, no doubt about it. The Mini Rods put on a great show in McLouth.
Pulls with us a couple of times.
Very happy to have them hanging out with us.
And a couple of other locations. We're excited to have him here. Got to get up there past 303.83, the distance laid down by that 36.88 piloted by Justin Hoffman. So it's going to be all red. Red fans, you are the loud ones out here. Chris Mines calls it hole shot.
Hole shot. That's the name of this tractor. This is one of the best passes I've seen from any vehicle all year. Watch this one, folks. Toodaloo. Skating and sliding, flagman goes backwards.
Wow, that was a fantastic job driving. I was leaning out the window, and I just knew I was going to see kicked up chalk. We've got a clean line and an official run. Great job keeping that machine in bounds. He was absolutely flying. 349.47. You knew it as soon as you saw it. That's good enough for the lead right there.
Yeah, great story right here, Russ. We'll show this one. How about the Davidson family first time out this year and winning the 4-1 class in West Point? Great story on the High Velocity Legacy Edition. Yeah, we'll show that one here in just a second. Kicking butt and taking names. The few, the proud, the orange. With
35.3 miles an hour for the whole shot tractor.
Cooking and booking.
Freshly out of Terry and Josh Blackburn's tuning shop just one night ago.
Okay, let's take a look.
Up for you tonight. And
see what else we can find here.
Class to win in the Outlaws. What I mean is any.
How about this? Alan Andrews doing his thing, Dakota Deere, Super Farm. I don't remember if he won this night or not. He might. No, we had a walk-off win in this class.
Nice hook right there for Mr. Andrews. Picked up the win last night out there in Gibbon.
Okay, so that brings you guys up to August 2nd.
331.18
done at that point, right? You would imagine. Well, no, we had one more show, Mound City, Kansas, at that night. Sunday night show, which I was not scheduled to be at. I drove from Moville all the way back to Northeast Missouri, Bevier, Missouri, 6-hour drive, made it all the way back here. And then I got a text message. Said, hey, we need you. We need you bad, Ron. We need you to come down to Mound City. So we hopped in the old Ford Fusion hey, what's 3 more hours of driving? I drove down to Mound City, and I called that show. I was tickled by what I saw down there. Let's take a look at it. Little Mound City, Kansas action. The bull ring of the pulling world out there. If you've never seen this pulling venue, let me show you something you just don't see every day. Got to shoot the gap to get out the back door here.
Had to go 302.05. She goes 302.47, moves into the lead.
Check it out right there. Swinging out the back door, out the gate. Quite literally out the gate. So evidently that was
42 hundredths of a foot. 42 hundredths of a foot is.
Take a look at Roger Rui. So we're jumping in right here, Mound City, Kansas, limited pro stock division. They had 3 national level classes, as well as the Missouri State Tractor Pullers Association. Ran a little bit down there after our show as well. Got to hang out with them. That was kind of fun. So Roger Rui.
All right, Roger Rui taking his shot right now. Calls this one mean farmer.
Loving the red light. Oh, good camera work. I don't know who you had down there, but great job, Mackenzie.
Putting on a show, stacking them in here. The red lights came on, and that tractor was gone. Another solid pass right there. 294.02. 294 with a 0-2 to the right of it right there. Going to come up just a little bit shy.
Out the gate, a new meeting.
So my inside correspondent up here helping me with my mathematical skills. 5 inches. 5 inches is all that separates first and second right now here in the limited pro stock class.
That brings you up to speed Sunday night, August 3rd. Kevin Davis, he's watching. Keith Hammond's walk the track, and West Point was awesome. That's what Keith does. Keith will walk the track at 10 o'clock in the morning. Keith is the first person I talk to at every single pull I go to. I start setting my flags up and setting everything out at about noon, and Keith is on the track walking it. You know, that's he picks his line. He won that night in West Point, but didn't win by a whole lot. Phil Chrysler was nipping on his heels. So then fast forward to the following weekend, this past weekend, DeLeon, Texas, 2 shows down there. I don't think we had a live stream crew in DeLeon. I'll go back and look, but I'm fairly certain that I don't have anything from DeLeon that I can show you guys. Check out the winners on the app, or we can talk about the winners really quickly. DeLeon, Texas. We had... Cotton Candy won on one night. Must Be Nice, Lacey Wager won on one night. And Donald Nelson and the Whippet won on one night as well. I think I might have clicked on Saturday. We'll see if that was right or not. Yeah, Vern Huser, Say Goodbye, won on Friday night in De Leon. Lacey Wager won on Friday night. And Donald Nelson, a little whip, won on Friday night. So had some back-to-back winners. Did not have a live stream crew in DeLeon. But before we made it to DeLeon, I don't even have this one written down. We were also in, so this might have been like 15 shows. Weeping Water. Didn't even have Weeping Water on my notes. Thursday night, Weeping Water. Let's take a look at that at the Cass County Fair. Kenny Beeson on the Fair Enough machine. Interesting setup here. We had to run hard wires to our camera, so we had to try to catch the tractors on the swing. Did not have a wireless camera. Now I heard we were battling some sound issues at this one. I know I was battling some sound issues up in the booth. Kind of sounds like we're not getting much. Let's see if we go forward if my sound issues got fixed. Not really. So we'll take a look. Take a look at the Hall and Grass Pro Stock 4-wheel drive truck pulling there in Weeping Water.
Is going to be driving this out of Garden City, Missouri. It's a long ways down there to Oklahoma, so they're letting Adam jump up in the cockpit, spotting that truck way over here to the right-hand side, just the same way that Al Ferguson did.
I heard this. Yeah, Say Goodbye's hitch broke DeLeon on Friday. They actually hooked it in the wrong hook. They put it in the safety hook and pulled that out, and he was able to get it fixed. Come back.
We've seen one truck win 7 of the 8 points championships. This was the only truck to play spoiler in that time frame. Out of out of St. Joseph, Missouri, calls this one hauling grass.
What happened there was my mic would not transmit through glass. I had to stick my head out the window. Once I stuck my head out the window, it could hit our receiver out there, and we had sound again. So that's what I thought. I sent him a text and I said, it seems like your sound issues aren't where they need to be.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be moving that tone early on.
Now you can hear there where it's gotten sharper. So, yeah, I'll go up there tomorrow and we'll see what's going on, see if we can get that sound dialed in. Not that I know how to fix it, but at least I'll be boots on the ground and have an idea of what's happening. Weeping Water was a good time. Then I went out to West Point. West Point was phenomenal. Let's take a look at a run from West Point. And then we'll show you a run from Washington. And we'll show you a run from today's pull in the Iowa State Fair. Let's go way towards the end. Let's see if we can find that pro stock, that limited pro stock, the high velocity legacy edition. There it is right there. Yeah, we'll watch West. We want to watch West. Running rowdy. This is West Point. Last Saturday night. Great show. Great crowd. Great camera work by Chloe. Doing her thing. Catching them on the swing. We were hardwired again that night.
466, 646.
Okay. And doesn't look like I'm going to find...
This one the sled dog.
I was really hoping that I could find
Legacy goes 3.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is what we want.
0.57.
Okay. We want the high velocity legacy tractor. Davidson's coming out picking up a win. Check this one out, folks. This was your winner.
3:34.97, the distance to beat.
Nice run.
All right, where's all my AGCO fans at now? Blowing the smoke. It's no joke. What a pass out there. Wow, Alice Chalmers fans, you're going to like this one. Had to go. 3:34.97. High velocity legacy goes 3:35.15. Takes over the #1 spot.
Nice pass. Nice run. Washington, Missouri, Iowa State Fair. Then we'll put a button on this show. Let's see. Let's see if we can find old Gage or Cruz Lewis picking up a win out here in the modified four-wheel drive truck class. There we go.
But I know we have to go back of a foot. We break that down to inches. That's 1 7/16 of an inch. 1 7/16 of an inch. That much. By that much, Cruz Lewis pulled into the lead.
So it was Cruz. So we'll see if we can see the live. Here we go. Cruz Lewis making Missouri fired up.
Gotta beat 339.58. Fired up.
So this was a fun story. Gage and Cruz Lewis actually traveled down. You know, they don't typically pull with the Outlaws, but they traveled down to pull with us to Washington, Missouri without their dad, Cody. Oh, look at the emotion in there, young man. Take a look at this, Outlaw fans. Watch the fist pump, guys.
Beautiful
Yeah.
pass for Chris Lewis.
Good
Go
for you,
right
bud.
down there when he
I'm
got
partial
past
to
the
these guys. They
300-foot
live
mark.
right down the road. They're 5 minutes away.
Wasn't
They're
enough.
one of the nicest families in Macon County, Missouri. So Cruz and Gage travel down there entirely by themselves. That's a pair of kids less than 25 years old, without dad hanging out with them. And big thank you to Ron Stone letting him use his side-by-side on the weekend. And walked away with the win right there. So, hard not, there's that movie they say it's hard not to be romantic about baseball. It's hard not to get excited about pulling. I just love seeing that stuff. Let's get you totally caught up. Take a look at Iowa State Fair today. And then we're on it. 15 pulls. I skipped Weeping Water. 15 pulls since the last time we have hung out. Iowa State Fair, and then Iowa State Fair tomorrow night at 12 noon. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll be in Wisner, Nebraska.
Even articulated tractors become more common. You're seeing the LSW.
Love daytime pulling. I absolutely love daytime pulling. I didn't see the beginning of this show. Maybe we can find some cool tractors from the beginning. Yeah, home up this Dalton Henry. Let's do a double overtime. Jason Schultz on the microphone. Yeah, no doubt about it. I texted him and I said I thought it sounded like their sound issues weren't great. I thought maybe it was just my computer, but sound wasn't where it needed to be today. But that happens sometimes. So.
Once they go by, you watch them raise that green flag, and away we go.
Good run. Great run. Phenomenal run.
All the way out there, make some noise to boys. What a pass for Dalton.
Wow. Not sure if that was the test hook. Not sure what the narrative is there. Don't know if they reset the sled. Yeah, Kyle moving the leader barrel. No doubt about that. Phenomenal run. Good job, buddy. He's been battling balance issues with that machine over the past 2 weeks. So no bouncing right there. Good run by those twin LS turbocharged motors. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that already puts us past 8 o'clock out here this evening. I'm going to go ahead and slide when the smoke clears up to next week. I wasn't going to have time to post it tomorrow anyway. So that's kind of a favor for myself right there. So Chuck Cleveland will be your When the Smoke Clears featured puller next week. Scribner, Gibbon, Mercer, McLouth, Moville, Mound City, Weeping Water, DeLeon, Washington, Palmer, Iowa State Fair. Everything you've missed since the last time you hung out with us. Moving forward this week, Iowa State Fair, Wisner, Nebraska, Wisner, Nebraska, Wisner, Nebraska. Thunder by the River. It is heaven week for the Outlaws, ladies and gentlemen. That's a ton of pulling. There's a lot of stuff going on. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Ron Stone, Jason Schultz, the whole crew up there at the Iowa State Fair right now hanging out. I'm going to leave 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. It says 3 hours from home. Try to get up there by 9. It's always closer to 4 hours by the time you get traveling. Hopefully everything goes good. I'm going to buzz back home after the show. I'm not insanely far from Des Moines, so I'm going to do a there and back, a day trip tomorrow and come back home, see my family. And then it's 3 days. Thunder by the River, Wisner, Nebraska. Thanks for watching tonight, guys. We'll get your final comments hit. And, if you can't be there, fullpull.live. Ham Boys Race Toys, Mark Ham. I love daytime pulling too. Then I can use my big lens. I like it because I'm not a night person. Chris Kilbarker, everyone is getting excited about Bowling Green here in Ohio. Fair enough. I've heard of it. No, of course. I've been to Bowling Green. But if you like Bowling Green, come check out Wisner sometime. It's the other mega show. It's going on the same week. 212 vehicles hook, huge numbers. So watch that on fullpull. If you got fullpull.live, sure, go to Bowling Green and then watch our Outlaw show on your phone in between sessions. I think that's what I would do. Donnie Jackson says, great show tonight. I appreciate the compliment. I love the support I get from you guys. I'm just having fun doing this. Love hanging out with the Outlaws. Chris Kilberker, great job. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Head on up to Des Moines. Head on out to Wisner. Green flags and tight chains. Pulling is fun, y'all. Have a good night.